Chapter 27 Travelling Through the Desert at Night. Patty opened up the stairs. On top of the sand dune, it was a cool, clear night. The moon was full in the sky, and it shone with an eerie light across the land. "Thank you for your help," Simon said to Patty. "Thank you for telling me about everything," she replied as she gave all three of them a hug with her big wings. "Now, be careful." She waved them goodbye as they walked over the crest of the hill and towards the dry riverbed. As they walked, all three of them kept looking around, thinking they were seeing something in the shadows. But every time it turned out to be nothing. Steam could see in the dark, so he was their lookout. When they got to the riverbed, it was completely dry. The earth had cracked and all the plants had died. They walked along the riverbed, with the moon guiding them. As they walked, the riverbed turned and twisted into a valley with rocky sides that became steeper and steeper as they went. A howl pierced through the silence of the night. Steam lifted his head and ears, listening. The trio froze and looked around. There was complete silence. Then another howl. Steam turned to the three of them. "Don't worry," he said. "It's just the desert coyotes letting us know that they've seen us and granting us safe passage." "How do you know that?" Sarah asked. "The descendants of the dog family have a code which we all honor," he replied. "How did you understand them?" Kenny asked. "We all know how to howl, and what different howls mean. It's our universal language," he explained. Simon looked around nervously. Even with everyone around, he still wasn't keen on the dark. How much longer do you think it is?" he asked. "Patty said it was a couple of hours' walk," Kenny piped up. "Let's keep on going," Steam said, encouragingly. "If this is going to work, we probably need to do it at night." They trudged on, over the sand and rocks. As they went, parts of the ground started to feel damp under their feet, and gradually a thin sliver of water began to appear. It was a small trickle of what the river once was. They must be getting closer. They went around a sharp bend in the riverbed, past a large cliff of rocks. As they turned the corner, the valley opened out a bit, and the huge dam stood towering in front of them. It blocked up the entire valley, and only a small amount of water was being fed into a pool at the bottom of it. This then turned into a small stream that gradually disappeared into the sand and rocks as it moved down the valley. The dam was cutting off the lifeline that the creatures of the desert had. If it went on for much longer, the oasis would eventually dry up, and there would be nothing left to support life. At the top of the dam, they could see two guard towers, but there was no movement. They moved into the shadows of the rocks to consider their next move. "How are we going to destroy the dam?" Kenny asked. Simon looked towards it. "We could go up the side there," he suggested, pointing to the right side of the dam, where it looked like there was a path to the top. "And then what?" Sarah asked. "We have to figure out how we can open it," Simon replied. "Or destroy it," Kenny suggested with a mischievous grin. "And how are we going to do that?" Sarah asked. "We'll have to watch out for the pollution," Steam said. "It will be heavily guarded, even if we can't see them from down here." "Maybe we can turn into our animals," Kenny suggested. "But that doesn't really help you or Simon," Kenny said cheekily. "I wouldn't want to turn into a bear anyway," Sarah replied. "Come on, you two. Now's not the time to fight," Simon said calmly. "Okay," they both conceded. Steam looked out across the wide open valley, looking for a route. It was all exposed, and there wasn't any cover. They would just have to go for it. "Are we ready to go?" he asked, turning to them. They all nodded. "Then let's go," he said. "Follow me, and quickly." They ran across the flat, their shadows from the moonlight following alongside them. They got to the small river of water and waded across. After they had gotten to the other side, they ran again. Steam had to keep the pace slow for the other three, but still fast enough to push them. They reached the shadows of the other side. Simon, Kenny, and Sarah were all out of breath. They looked up and saw shadows moving about on top of the dam. Had they been seen? They waited and watched as they caught their breath. It didn't seem as though anyone had spotted them. Kenny looked up at the steep path above them. Then he looked at the others. "Really?" he asked with a sigh. "Come on, lazybones," Simon said jokingly, and took the lead up the path. The others followed behind. They walked carefully as the path was steep and rough. If they slipped or fell, it would be a long way down. They also didn't want to make any sound that would alert the pollution that they were there. As they climbed, the path became more and more rocky. Kenny, who was a bit grumpy from a lack of sleep, was grumbling. "This isn't a path, it's a bunch of rocks." "Oh, come on," whispered Sarah. "We're almost there." They looked up and could see the top. They clambered up the rest of the way and hid in the shadows.